All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. We've got an update announcement that is direct from the AOV Update English Facebook page. Beta 44.2 Hero Balance and Hotfix is going to be released on February 29th at 7 a.m. That's going to be Asia time, so the time for us in North America will probably be Wednesday evening sometime, Wednesday night. We'll see these hot fixes and updates go into effect. So keep your eyes open for this. This is not a comprehensive list. We don't exactly know who of this list is going to actually be in the hot fix. These are just the balances that have been tested most recently. So hopefully we see them all, but if we don't, just bear that in mind. So to start off with, they've been testing a nerf to Erin, the new marksman hero. It looks like they are reducing the physical damage caused by her passive and reducing the magic damage caused by her ultimate skill 3, and also increased or decreased the movement speed that her ultimate causes. So she's got a nerf to her damage and movement speed. We've got a nerf to Yena. It says that the last adjustment, Yena was amplified too high damage and too good of a resistance. So they weakened her burst damage. Her passive and her skill 1, you can see that is being nerfed as far as her damage goes. Darcy, I've heard a lot of people say finally Darcy is getting a buff. I've never played a Darcy, so I can't really speak to that as to how this is going to affect him, but their reasoning for the buff is his dimensional force gets built up with normal attacks, and if you're not attacking over, I tested it a little bit, like 2 seconds or so, it falls off pretty quickly. And so they said that caused too much difficulty for him to keep his enhanced output functioning, and the teleport function was too difficult to use. So as you can see here, his passive for the dimensional force buildup, the dimensional force now will last forever, and he needs less to enhance his abilities. Skill 1 got removed, that it cannot be a targeted effect. I can see we've weakened the ability to pin him with skill 1 while he's running away, so he can't escape death as easily over long periods of time. So they did try to balance this a little bit. They increased the ability for him to build up that dimensional force, but they did decrease his movement and his escapability just a little bit. But his skill 3 now does not need a target to teleport. So I think it'll balance out quite nicely. And according to the adjustment screen here, it moves him from an E to a B tier hero. So that's going to be interesting for those Darcy mains out there. Then we've got a buff to Kil'groth. The reasoning says that his ability to explode early game takes quite a while to develop, and his late game he gets weak. So what they've done is they have increased his ability to ramp up and to scale a little bit. So his damage is going up, his cooldown reduction is going down. So that is good news for Kil'groth. Moren is also getting a buff. We can see their reasoning on this as well, is that his win rate again is low. Slow early game development makes him risky in the later game. So they've increased his damage output and lowered his cooldown. So let's take a look. His passive is being adjusted. All stacks will disappear after 3 seconds. 2 kinds of armor. So that's a little bit of a nerf to his passive, but his skill 1 physical damage is being increased quite a bit. The cooldown reduction is being increased. All of these things are being increased. Skill 2, cooldown reduction and mana cost is going down. His entrapment ability got a damage buff, a mana cost reduction, and a slow buff. So Moren's going to be another pain. Whenever I was playing on the Switch version, the Morens were, they would go in, rip somebody to shreds, and then just run away. You could never catch him. His skill 1 makes him fast. So it's going to be interesting. We might be getting a Moren meta back into the game. Now, another nerf is to the support items. And the last time I reported this, only this top item was being reported. Now they are doing a little bit more to try to balance this out a little bit, but it's still going to be a terrible nerf to all support heroes. Anybody that's running a support item, your allies are not going to be affected. They still get 100% golden XP from farming minions and monsters, but your benefit from that is being scaled now. So every 3 minutes you increase by 5% at a maximum of 15 minutes. The effect won't be lost, so all of your ally heroes will benefit from this for the entire match, but the support themselves is going to be terribly far behind. So if you felt like you were already weak in the late stages of the game, this isn't going to help you any. You're still going to have some trouble. You do get this passive gold increase, but they've reduced the amount and the times that it ramps up, so 5 to 10 minutes. So this is going to be interesting to see how the support heroes are able to function with the support item nerf. Finally, we've got Fennik rework, and so we'll just kind of go through some of the mechanism changes. His passive, they're removing the additional physical damage. Passive is completely changing, and they're changing it to every 6 seconds. Fennik actually reveals heroes. That's one thing that I've heard in some discussion, is that Fennik can roll in somewhere thinking he's alone. An enemy in the bush can find him and kill him pretty quick. So this gives him a little bit more survivability, I think, in revealing anybody that might be camping around waiting to gank him as he's roaming through the jungle. And realistically, the additional damage, he rips towers and minions so quick, I'm not sure that passive is going to be that big of a deal. The skill 1 adjustment, they're adjusting his marks mechanism. Reaching all 4 marks previously dealt a big burst of damage, whereas now each mark is going to deal a chunk of damage. So that's interesting too, so that your normal attack adds the mark and does a little bit of damage. Well, now each mark is going to do damage rather than having to build it up to all 4 to get anything out of it. So this is a good kind of a buff for him, honestly. And then it's going to increase his range for 4 seconds when he throws that on the target. Also his attack speed, but the cooldown of this skill is going to be nerfed a little bit. So this is overall, I believe, a good adjustment for Fennik. Then his skill 2, the lightning crack, is increased damage and increased slow. And skill 2 increases damage, increases the slow. Cooldown reduction's kind of a wash. And they've removed where the skill 2 will add marks, increase damage, and cool down the skill. So that is removed. But again, overall, I think it's a good change for Fennik. So now we get to skill 3. They have added to where throwing the chain immediately causes damage, and quite a good amount of damage. So as soon as it hits a target, it's not just the spinning that causes damage, but the initial hit is causing them damage. But they are reducing the damage that every spin, every half second happens. So I think this is probably a pretty good change, because people can get out of those, out of the chains and keep from taking this damage. But once they get hit, I think that's overall a good change. I miss the second removal here. The first one, time damage, will critically strike and has a maximum of 150%, which I think that's fine. This damage is being reduced, and it can't critically strike, which I think is fine. But the thing they're removing that I hate so much, they're taking out being able to recall the chain. I always thought that was a great move, being able to recall it. It slows the enemy, but they're taking that out. It'll just sit there like Yena's ability. It'll just sit there and spin until it times out. And then they're adding that every half a second will add a mark to the enemy being detonated. So the chain can now, if they get out of your attack range, you can throw the chain and the chain adds marks. So that'll detonate. Chain duration is nerfed, but the cooldown reduction is, is buffed. So I think overall, it's a pretty good rework for Fennik. It'll be interesting to see how some of those individuals who play him a lot fare with it, but I think they'll find that he's a little more balanced, a little more resistant to ganking, probably a little more useful in a team fight than he has been in the past. So update beta 44.2 is coming, and all, some, or none of these that we covered today may be in that patch. When the actual patch notes come out, I will do an update for things that have been incorrectly reported here. But expect some of these changes and eventually expect them all. They're on the test server being tested and balanced, and we should expect them in the game anytime. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed today's video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the metrics, the algorithm, and helps more people to see this video and benefit from the content. So I appreciate that very much. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you guys on the battlefield.